Hello, everyone. It's me, Zach. I was just trying to set up the Facebook Live. That somehow didn't work, but it's okay. We will post this, and people like watching the replays better. Maybe people are getting prepared for the NBA Finals or the Stanley Cup, which has had an unusually long break. So, hello. This is Zach. We will be talking about the Butte County Gravel Grind. We have Rob and Whitney on the line here. Before we bring everyone in, including Vic, who I know is here as well, just a note, this is going to probably be our only GBC Live of June. I will be away for a while. And then, one of the first things when I return, I will be heading up north, not just for the Butte County Gravel Grind on July 13th, but also we might have ascended up in Eureka as well. So great excuse to head up north. And one last thing, I'd love to give a big round of applause to Amanda Nauman. Congratulations on the Gravel Hall of Fame. We're so proud of you. Your accomplishments on gravel racing stand alone, but also what you've done for the sport and mentor everyone. And definitely, I know, has played a big part with Vic and I. So thank you, Amanda. Congratulations. And it is all well earned. So let's bring everybody on and say hello to Rob and Whitney, and then Victor Boyce. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry to be so long-winded, but how are you doing?
Good.
I'm great.
Thanks for having us.
Well, I'm pretty excited to be headed out there and to do this ride. And we talked a little bit before about how much, I've done some of the riding around the area, but if you can, tell us a little bit about just, Chico and Butte County up there in the hills in general.
Yeah, totally. So right now we're shooting this video in Northern Adventure Sports. It's the bike shop that I work at, and Whitney used to work at, and she now works for Chico Velo, which is a local cycling nonprofit. So we work together as co-race directors to put this on. And after I'm done talking, I'm sure Whitney will tell you a little bit more about Chico Velo and what they're doing in the community as well. But yeah, Chico is definitely a very bike-centric community, and it's a great place to ride all flavors of bike, whether it's road or gravel or mountain. And you can do really any of it and do an epic ride from your doorstep if you live in Chico. There's great rides to be had for all disciplines. So it's a really amazing community. Like I said, very bike centric. And everyone is super supportive of, whether it's mountain bike racing, gravel racing, road racing. It's definitely like a really, really great cycling community that we're fortunate to be a part of.
And I'll say, working for the cycling advocacy group, I really feel that community vibe, very strongly, and really just want to highlight Rob's key idea of support here in town for our races and rides. Chico Velo puts on the Wildflower Century, which is a road ride. And then last year we put on with Northern, we put on the Butte County Gravel Grind, which is a fundraiser for our Trailworks program. And our Trailworks program is the primary trail stewardship in Butte County. We do all of the maintenance in Upper Bidwell Park, our city municipal park. And then we will be also doing the maintenance for the Colby Mountain Recreation Area, which is part of the fundraising process for the Butte County Gravel Grind.
You guys are amazing. That's all good.
It is all good. I agree.
That's all good. Wow.
Well, so then who put their first foot forward in the idea of holding a gravel ride?
It was Rob.
Yeah. So I guess this gravel race kind of stemmed from a gravel series that I've been doing for the last 3 years now, where every other month I've been doing just a free gravel ride that people can attend and sign up for around the North State. So it's a different location throughout the North State. every other month. And you know, I guess it does cost a little bit of money if you want to eat food or like drink beer at the end. So basically at the end of the ride, I bring a griddle out and cook food for everybody, and provide drinks. And if people want to stay and hang out and have food and drinks, then we just ask for a $10 donation. And it's a self-supported ride. You know, I'll give people the route ahead of time. They can upload it to, you know, their Garmin or whatever. And yeah, it's just a great way for people to get out and explore different gravel roads and areas of the North State that you maybe normally wouldn't get to. And then I guess you kind of stemmed from that, wanting to do something a little bit bigger. That would be, you know, a better event for the community and bring people into the community, and then also raise some money for Trailworks and then also the Colby Mountain Project, like Whitney said.
Rob brought up the gravel grind idea to me like 3 weeks after I started my job here at Chico Velo. And I think it was because we didn't want to not work together. So.
Okay, I got it.
What is your job at Chico Velo?
What's that?
What is your job at Chico Velo? What do you do there?
I am a co-manager for Chico Velo.
Nice.
I mean, you know, I've ridden around town a few times, and like it's when over 100,000 people live there. I think it doesn't feel like that size, but you know, it's a great place to ride around. The university, who one of the people in a lot of our videos, Bill, is a graduate of, and my college roommate's parents both taught there, so we would come up and visit. So it's a great community in Bidwell Park, and just the foothills of the mountains over there. And on top of that, like just the racing community and everything. Whenever I go to a Grasshopper, you know, the Chico Velo guys are always kind of in the front. And you guys have like the airport crits as well. So it seems like there's a lot of bike stuff going on at the same time.
There is. There's a lot of talented people in Chico for sure.
Are you both?
I'm sorry, Zach. What's your specialty? What do you race?
I don't race, but I love gravel riding and mountain biking, and I do a lot of road riding for the aerobic exercise.
Yeah, I don't race much either. I mean, I enjoy trying hard, but I would say my gravel bike is probably my favorite bike. I also do ride road bikes and mountain bikes, but I like kind of how gravel melds everything together, you know, into one bike. You know, you get kind of a taste of a lot of different disciplines, which is pretty nice.
We understand.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, just so people know, this isn't just like a race. This is also just, you know, there's a lot of options out there in terms of distance, things to see along the way. So just in terms of what experience it is, you know, and that's what I like, is that you don't have to, you can pretty much go at your own pace, and it's a ride that stands on its own, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, let me quickly, I'm going to bring up our little map here of the course. So, you know, I was mentioning to them earlier, if you haven't checked it out, I've done a couple videos in the area too. And a small part of this course is something that I've covered before. Yeah, actually, if you see our Butte Meadows video, we did start off pretty close to the starting line here. So why don't you guide us through here, and I'll try and navigate as best as I can.
Okay, I'll start.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you may know, or maybe you don't know, but the Butte County Gravel Grind has 3 different routes. 2 of these routes are timed and 1 is not timed. The 3 different routes vary in shortest distance, medium distance, and the longest. So I'll take you through our short distance first, and I'll hand it over to Rob So we're going to start this year at the Butte Meadows Mercantile and Resort. And this year we are super happy to be partnering with a local business in town. We have, event agreements. We've got lots of parking, and the vibe is going to be great. And the landowner is really excited to be working with us. So that'll be our event start. We are going to have 3 different start times. The long course race and the short course race are going to start first. But then the lookout loop goes, and that's the untimed portion. So the race is going to start, and it's going to head east along Humboldt Road. So we're going to head out of the Mercantile, and Rob is going to lead a neutral rollout through the short, I think it's a mile-long neutral rollout through the community. And then riders will stay on paved road, and Butte Meadows is gorgeous. It's a narrow road, 2 lanes, beautiful alpine, pristine environment. You keep riding up it until you hit a gravel road. So you'll keep going, Zach, until you make that left-hand turn. And at that left-hand turn into the Colby Mountain area, yep, perfect, right there, there's going to be an aid station. And that aid station is going to be up with our partners at North Rim. So it's going to have a full mechanic set, somebody to help count riders as they pass by, water, electrolytes, and snacks, and just, pretty much anything you can need before you start your first real climb. And so then you'll continue up the ridge, and you're going to hit the fork in the road, and you'll take that left and start climbing up to Colby Mountain. And the Colby Mountain Lookout, this is probably the most scenic part of the ride, is this lookout loop. There's no burn scar, big, beautiful trees. It's very cool in this area. Like literally the temperature is cooler because of all the shade. So riders will ride up this road, the Colby Mountain Lookup Road, and it's a little chunky, but it's mostly dirt. It's really forgiving. They'll go all the way to the top, and then they'll go to the lookout. They'll go to the Colby Mountain Lookout, where they will meet Ken Jordan, who has been the lookout steward for close to 40 years. He's actually going to be at the top, partnering with us, with one of my board members from Chico Velo, being like an aid station or such at the top, and riders can ask them questions and what have you. Racers do not go to the lookout. Only folks who are on the lookout loop go to the lookout. After riders are done at the lookout, they come back down, and then they take they take the return ridge home, and that gravel is very smooth. It's not dirt, it's gravel, pretty butter, some rolly hills. And then this is also a really pretty part of the course, again, because there's no burn scar, and you're at about 4,000 feet elevation, so it's nice and cool. And then you're going to hit that aid station again and start the kind of long climb to our second aid station.
Yeah. So, as Whitney was saying, the 35-mile loop and the 52-mile loop won't go to the lookout. So they'll do the Colby Mountain climb, and then they'll take a right as you get to a fork in the road, rather than going left to the lookout. And then all riders will continue that descent, as Whitney was saying, again, back down that first lollipop, back to the main road that you came in on.
A couple questions. One, when I was doing this ride, someone was mentioning, this little area here, that some of the trails were part of the master planning of the Sierra Trails Connected Communities master plan.
Yes. So the return road, I'm pretty sure, from the Colby Mountain Lookout, it's called like 27N06. That one is part of the master plan. And the Lost Sierra routes are just connected dirt roads. And this is our connected dirt road, because you can, essentially take Humboldt or Humbug to Almanor. And how we connect that to Colby Mountain is through, if you look at that lollipop, it's the Eastern Road.
Okay, so this one here.
Yeah, and then as we were talking about, when you do the climb up Colby Mountain, and then kind of where the shortest route will go up to the lookout, the rest of the routes will continue to the right. That's going to be a main hub area for Colby Mountain Project, and where a lot of the trails a lot of the downhill trails will start. So as Whitney was kind of talking about, the Colby Mountain Project is kind of an offshoot of the Connected Communities project that the Sierra Butte Trail Stewardship is doing. So, and then again, that's kind of one of the things that this race is fundraising. So that is really going to be a main area for mountain biking, where you can either shuttle up to, or where a lot of the downhill trails will begin. So it's kind of cool that we get to do that part of the course, and everyone can see what's going to be coming down the pipeline. I mean, literally right now there's a trail building company that's up there every day building trails for the Colby Mountain Project. So it's happening now, and everyone in Chico is super excited. But
well, I remember, we took some diversion on some single track there. That was a lot of fun.
Totally.
I think I know the single track you're talking about, and none of the single track that's on Colby Mountain right now is actually a sustainable trail. So we're not using that as part of our Colby Mountain Recreation Project. But the single track trails that are available and that are coming are going to be so cool.
And then the other question before we get to the other part was Humboldt Road itself. Humboldt Road has a lot of history to it, and I know we went by the little inn in Jonesville in the video, and I guess they were still renovating it, but I mean that's part of the history too.
It is, and riders. I mean, this is truly a historic ride. Honestly, the history behind Butte Meadows, Jonesville, and Colby Mountain, and its rich logging history and its connection to Lassen National Forest. The Jonesville Hotel is definitely the most popular landmark, but those roads are really old, and they've been maintained for over a century as a resource. So.
It wasn't this part of maybe like one of the veins of the California Trail. I know that it's split into a number of places once it reached California, but this is like one of the original roads. Doesn't look like an original road. There's definitely been some upkeep for the last.
It is. You're totally right. It is one of the original roads. Yeah, it's cool.
But yeah, you just definitely you see that footprints in there, which I think is really cool. So then for the longer courses, this is the area I'm unfamiliar with, and sometimes when we throw on the Google Earth map, like their aerial is from different times of the year, so it doesn't always reflect how green the how much coverage there is. So I'm really super curious about this whole area. It's all new to me.
Well, this area is where it gets really rowdy.
Yeah. So yeah, once you get down to that first lollipop, you kind of come back to Humboldt Road.
Oh, am I gone? Oh no. I hope it's not me that's out. Vic? You're muted, Vic.
Sorry. Yes, I'm still here.
Oh no, we lost them.
We lost them.
Hopefully they'll hop on again in a second. Yeah, and one thing I was just going to point out here, which I guess might be a next question to ask, is see how Humboldt Road kind of continues off this way. And I believe, yeah, there it is. There's Mount Lassen out over here. I forgot that you could see Mount Lassen, kind of like when you get into this neighborhood here by Colby. But when I was out there, we didn't get to ride so much. But it's interesting when you take a look at this Humboldt Road. I know I'm veering away a little bit, but this obviously looks like another great connection to go deeper in and crossing the Pacific Crest Trail. Wow, super cool. Yeah, there just seems to be an endless supply of routes up here. And we were in a completely different area when we did we came close, but in our forest ranch. So hopefully we'll get them back in a second. But in the meantime, Vic, how are you doing?
I was thinking, Libby and I camped at Mount Lassen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but we took the camper van up there when we went to Portland, and that was part of the trip. And yeah, the forest there is amazing. It's unfortunately that was the time when some lunatic started a fire nearby and kind of wrecked everything. They caught him, but not before he did tremendous damage. Similar to when what was it, Paradise? When that town it was some of the people that got displaced from that fire were displaced again by this maniac starting another fire like in another town like a few miles away. So anyway, that's all bad, but the area is beautiful if it's not covered in smoke. Point. So I didn't get to ride over there, but man, gorgeous.
Well, this quickly, if Jeffrey is still watching, well, let's go.
Let's go.
I guess a lot further south in the Sierra, but yeah, this area up here is really gorgeous.
It is.
I was. They said that it was rugged, but I really had a great time on the surface when I was out there.
She said it was rowdy, but she said she's not maybe it's rowdy, relatively speaking. I wondered about that when she said that.
Oh.
Well, yes, hear us.
Now I can hear you. You're back.
My phone got hot and then decided to give up. So we switched to a laptop.
Okay.
We were trying to determine your assessment of rowdy.
Yeah.
Rowdy is the term where I want to say, it's not terribly difficult, especially depending on what route you choose, but it's exposed. The climb is going to be hard because it's exposed, and it's a hard gravel climb. Okay. And you're out there in a burn scar. It's still beautiful, and you get to go past the lake, and you get amazing views, and you're with everybody. But it's low key. The hardest part of the ride is after you come out of that Colby Mountain area.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Let me bring up the little our little profile here, because So basically, you're saying here after the 20-mile mark, and I guess I have it here on the map, but I couldn't remember what the elevation was at, but it looks like you almost get up to 7,000 feet, which is a lot.
That's high.
Oh, you told me that before.
Yeah. So after you take that turn off that Colby Mountain loop, you're still through some forested area for a little bit, and the road is fairly mellow. It kind of meanders along a little. And then you start climbing a bit. So when you get to about mile 15 or so, then you start another pretty big climb. And then you start to begin to enter into the burn scar a little bit. It gets sparsely vegetated, and then you get some trees, and then it's burned, and then some trees. Mm-hmm. So you do get a little reprieve. And the road quality is maybe a little loose, but it's not bad really. And you're doing a lot of climbing. And then you get to this kind of the summit of that little climb, and then you descend a little bit to the aid station, which is kind of where you can see that next lollipop begins.
Mm-hmm. And this aid station is another aid station that North Rim is partnering us with. So it'll have a full-fledged mechanic, all the water, electrolytes, and snacks, and everything you could possibly need. We will also be having roaming SAG on course, and Butte County Search and Rescue is going to be our emergency response team, just to help. The support for this course is high.
Now is this part of the burn scar from the Paradise fire up here?
The Dixie.
No, it's the Dixie fire.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Just the
so Dixie fire, it was a few years ago, but it burned nearly 1 million acres. So and a lot of it in Butte County and surrounding counties. So it definitely affected this area quite a bit. We're super lucky that Butte Meadows is still green and pristine, but yeah, the surrounding area and around Lassen did get a lot of there's a big burn scar.
Wow.
But the roads are still great, and they're still super fun to ride. And I guess you don't get the lovely trees, but you do get to see more because there's nothing obstructing your view.
That's actually, you don't ask for that, but sometimes when you're able to understand the scale of everything and be able to see it, it's just amazing how far this area stretches out. And I was even telling Vic off of camera, how you could see Lassen from points over here. But when people head to this lollipop, do they go counterclockwise or clockwise?
They go clockwise. Yeah. So the long loop will enter that lollipop. The 35-mile loop will take that right and then begin heading back. So that lollipop only adds on 12 miles or something, but it's a very difficult 12 miles. So you begin the lollipop, you get some little rollers, the gravel's a bit loose, it's smooth but it's a bit loose, and then you start a really big climb. So you can see it on the elevation map where you get kind of that big steep spike, and you begin heading towards that peak of around 7,000 feet. And that climb is steep, it's exposed, and it is a bit loose. So it's definitely, a climb that does require a little bike handling skill because, you can't spin a super low gear because you'll spin out. And you can't push a super big gear because it's really steep. So, it's really trying to find that sweet spot and feather your way up it. But it's a cool climb. I mean, it's hard, and it will definitely, if you're racing, it's going to be a big separator for if there is a group. And then, as you head up that climb, then you're kind of paralleling the PCT at the same time, which is kind of cool. So sometimes you'll see hikers, right alongside of the road that are on the Pacific Crest Trail, and they're kind of looking over at you like, what are you doing? And as you're on a bike in the middle of nowhere in a burn scar. But yeah, it's a super cool climb.
It tops out on Humbug Summit too. You actually go up and over Humbug Summit. You even get the summit marker.
So yeah, super cool. And then the descent is actually quite nice. It's not any really sharp turns. The road quality is pretty good. It's slightly loose, but I would say it's not doesn't feel sketchy.
I would say the most difficult thing about that section from the long course lollipop down to Snag Lake is probably deep gravel.
Yeah. You get some sections of some deep gravel, but yeah, then you descend down a bit and you take a sharp right-hand turn, and then after the first main descent, you can see around mile 30. That's when you kind of take that a right-hand turn, and then you have to enter a non-burned area, which is nice. So the road mellows out a little bit. You do have some climbing, but it's not super steep, and it's a little more rolly. And the gravel is again of pretty good quality. But yeah, you're not in a burn scar anymore for the rest of that lollipop for the most part. So it is quite nice. You have a few turns in there. We'll obviously have a lot of signs and have it marked. But yeah, that section is difficult, for that add-on for the long loop, but it's super beautiful, and it's a cool ride.
I'm sorry, I get distracted sometimes because I see all these other little roads. I'm like, where do they lead?
Oh, totally.
And I'm just wondering, when you were coming up with this course, did you, it must have been tough, picking between where to go and all the choices.
We actually had some really good guidelines and that we could not be on SPI property, and a lot of those side roads are behind a yellow gate, so that eliminated about 80% of our choices. And back to the Rise and Grind events that Rob put on with North Rim, this was one of the routes, so it was already established, and part of the way we kept the stoke for the event was like, hey, this route, we're going to add a race to it. So
keep the stoke high.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
okay.
also, this route is all in Butte County, which is imperative for our permitting process.
Oh, you do not want
Yeah.
to deal with.
Yeah, we really hugged the line of Tehama. If you went any closer to Lake Almanor, then you'd be entering into Tehama. To Plumas, sorry.
Okay. Okay. Well, good to know.
Yeah, no, it really, like, the amount of permitting and application process for just this Butte County Gravel Grind is quite a bit. And if the moment that we start going further into the other counties, I mean, it gets exponential. And that is actually something that's really important to learn about why gravel races are routed in certain ways. We are very much confined by county lines and who owns the forest. And they want a significant, the U.S. Forest Service requires a significant amount of your registration fee as part of their permit. So just thoughts,
So from initial concept, like I want to do this gravel grind, to going through all the paperwork and processes and dealing with all the county officials and everything, how long does that take from beginning to green light?
Rob and I have a lot on our plate, so we do a lot of pre-planning. So I would say it takes about 6 months if you were to start and to finish. But we kind of do it in a full calendar year, maintaining those relationships and just kind of getting the wheels turned. The response rate is what kills the timing. We will send something out and then not get a response back to help move other things forward for up to 4 to 6 weeks. So while that makes a lot of sense for the administrative, like the U.S. Forest Service or the Butte County Sheriff's Office, that doesn't help us in our event planning. So it takes a long time because once you make your packet and you have everything settled, it's waiting for the response. And after we submit to the Butte County Sheriff's Office, they give us recommendations, and then we have to follow those recommendations. So when we submitted the parade permit, we didn't hear back for about 3 months that we needed changeable message boards. And then we had to add that to our planning process. So it's things like that really make it a long process.
Wow.
Yeah, but any race director goes through.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. See, Vic, easy.
Well, my guess was a year. So she said 6 months, but really it is a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was close.
You were close. Yeah. It's 6 months of work, but 1 year of planning.
Yeah.
So July 14th, you'll be working on year 3.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Back to work.
Yep.
Just like Santa.
Yeah, especially with, the overall concept of this was, a fundraiser for Trailworks and Colby Mountain Project. And then ideally down the road, we do want to make this more than just a gravel event. So we really want to begin to take advantage of all of the amazing trails that are being built right now and in the future. And ideally, we would like to make this an entire weekend of racing where we're also entering or adding in mountain bike events as well. So we want to continue to keep the gravel thing because we love gravel and it's, a super fun sport, but also bring mountain bikers into the mix and do some mountain bike racing as well. So that's kind of the idea eventually down the road, is to continue to highlight, all the different styles of cycling that Butte County has to offer.
Wow.
I'll piggyback off that just a second. Is part of the reason why the Colby Mountain Recreation Area and project is such a priority for Butte County is because it's one of the last pristine environments for alpine recreation in our county. And there's a lot of eyes, like our T-Bid district, Explore Butte County, the conservation district, as well as our municipal park and recreation district, everybody's invested in the Colby Mountain Recreation Area for the recreation opportunities it brings to Chico. And we're slowly losing those opportunities due to wildfire. So everyone is really excited for this, and we want to see it be a prime example of forest health practices as well as recreation.
Wow.
Yeah. It's definitely a unique area up there. And, just with all the streams that I know we grabbed water out of one of them, and we came across a few people on horses, and Southern California problem is that they don't tend to go along well with cyclists, but these experienced riders were just go right on by. Great. So you just kind of felt really comfortable up there riding with whoever we came across. Coming off of this loop, this road here and the way back, I'm a little bit unfamiliar. We have a little bit of a climb once we leave the aid station.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little rolly. After you leave the aid station, I guess you have a bit of the descent initially, and there is some loose sections in that road, so you got to keep your wits about you a little bit. But overall, it's a pretty good descent. And then you do have a little bit of a kicker climb before you begin descending down to Snag Lake. And it's definitely a climb that it's harder than you want it to be at that point in the race, because you've done so much climbing already. And it's a bit loose. And, again, you have to, select the correct gearing. But yeah, you got a little kicker in there, and then you have a pretty big descent down to Snag Lake, which is super beautiful. It's not a steep descent; it's a more gradual and pedally descent. So it's not like you're doing switchbacks or anything like that. You're kind of pedaling along at, I guess it depends on who you are, but pretty easily around 20 miles an hour if you want to. So it's not super fast, but it's pedaling and it's downhill. And then you go past Snag Lake, and right when you get to Snag Lake, I guess you're for a lot of that descent, you're in a burn scar again. When you get to Snag Lake, then it starts being green and trees again. So you're out of that burn scar for the rest of the course, really, after you leave Snag Lake. After you pass the lake, then you have some rollers in there, some fun downhills, again, with some deep gravel you have to navigate. And then that road does get a lot of ATV traffic. So it can be a little bit chewed up and a bit chunky, and definitely a little bit dusty. So, you do have some chunk to navigate, but it's not really bad at all. And then, you go through some of those rollers, navigate some of that chunk. And then spits you out at Skyway, which is a paved road. Skyway is a main-ish road that takes you all the way from, if you want, all the way from Chico to Butte Meadows. So it starts in Chico and dead ends in Butte Meadows. But it's a paved road, just 2 lanes.
There will be an aid station this year. There's going to be another aid station at the Skyway Humbug intersection. And that's going to be hosted by just another cycling group in Chico, the Chico Corsa Cycling Club.
Oh, cool. Wow.
And then, once you take that right-hand turn onto the paved road, it's mostly a descent. You have a couple short kickers. And then, it's mainly a pretty screaming fast descent back into Butte Meadows on paved roads. So it's nice you can turn your brain off a little bit compared to riding on the gravel roads, and you can kind of cruise your way back into Butte Meadows the last 5 miles or so.
If you're not too tired, the section from Humbug Skyway down to Butte Meadows, you'll get a view of Lassen Park.
Oh, wow. cool. I'll probably be able to catch a little bit over here, but I see what you mean. Yeah. Jeez.
It's a beautiful course, and it, you know, I know that it's not, you know, the most beautiful thing ever to go through a burn scar, but the burn scar is the reality of a lot of California right now. And, you know, you should see the beauty in it and like go ride in it and recreate it in it. And it's part of our reality. And if we want to keep having these amazing gravel rides, getting used to the burn scars is going to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, when I did the Lassen ride, it was interesting. It wasn't just the burn scar, but just seeing, you know, the work and for the recovery, for the area that's being involved. It's really fascinating, you know, that, you know, moving forward, you know, this is a many year process to, you know, get these places viable and useful, and you know, at the same time, like it seems like the goalposts are always moving on the science with the climate change and everything else and resources. So it's a really difficult job that people have out there. So yeah, it'd be great to guarantee that we would never have fires, but it's a big reality, especially, you know, we do need to, it's just natural, you know, you can't always stop it, and it's part of the life cycle. It's just the question is just much harder to predict and manage now than it's been in earlier times. So, but still, I mean, like, you know, I get a sense of it when I'm out there, and being able to see how connected and everything is. It's just amazing, you know, how much space we have that's accessible. And
yeah, especially up here in the North State. I mean, the gravel is truly endless.
yeah.
That Lost Sierra connected communities that you were talking about, that's 40,000 miles of gravel roads just in the North State.
40,000 miles?
Gravel roads.
Sounds impossible. Wow.
Well, I think that's the thing that fascinates people, because, like, you know, California is very coastal centric because that's where most of the big cities and people live, but they kind of forget that, especially the northern part of the state was where many of the inroads were made from the earlier settlers, and just the footprints of all that. You know, we do have gravel roads down here in Southern California, but I don't think we have as big of a network as we do in the North State there. So really fascinating. So putting you both on the spot here, people coming into town, first time in Chico, what are recommendations for people to do, see, eat in town when they're coming in?
Well, you got to come to North Rim Adventure Sports, of course. I would say first stop.
Yeah. Yeah, we've a huge bike shop here. Our main niche, I guess, would be mountain and gravel. And we've been open since 97. We have a huge space right downtown. Yeah, our packet pickup will be here for the race on Saturday. And then you can also pick up your packet up in Butte Meadows Sunday morning. But if you're in town, staying in town on Saturday, you can pick up your packet here at the bike shop. And then, yeah, I guess another one of our big sponsors is Sierra Nevada Brewing. So that's about a 10-minute drive from downtown. So heading to the brewery for a drink and some dinner is always a Chico staple for sure.
And it's not a small brewery.
No.
It's not. No, it's quite big. Yeah, it's kind of like you know, the Willy Wonka version of beer.
Mm-hmm. It is like yeah, that's a great way of describing it.
Yeah, it is.
And then the downtown is real, quaint, Victorians, very walkable scale. And
Totally. Yeah, the university is directly adjacent to downtown. So it's all, everything in Chico is super connected. It is a pretty small town, and it's very bikeable. And yeah, there's a lot of great shops and other restaurants downtown that are definitely worth visiting, and other bike shops downtown as well. We're all friends, so it's great to visit all of them and support everybody.
Yeah, and like you wouldn't think that, just with the quaintness around there's like 100,000 people that live in town, and
I think it's 120,000 now.
Oh my Lord. Jeez.
I know. Yeah, you wouldn't expect it. You're right.
You need one of those tickers where it's just like constantly going, and like the numbers, on the side. But yeah, and we just, so like it's such a great point of like, if you want to go to other places, you're really close by to a lot of options. And when I lived in the Bay Area, it was pretty easy to go up there and visit my roommate's parents. So that if people haven't been up to Chico, I mean, that's why I've already made 2 videos up there. Great place to get to. So
and if you're here for a little bit and have never been to Bidwell Park, is one of the most amazing resources that we have here in Chico. And the park, it starts basically downtown Chico and goes all the way into the foothills, and that's where all of our mountain biking is. There's like 40 miles of single track. It's difficult mountain biking, but it's super fun. And the park follows this huge canyon of Little Chico Creek, and it's beautiful. Bunch of swimming holes, and great places to jump off rocks into the water. And yeah, it's very incredible.
Vic, are you coming to the Butte County Gravel Grind?
I hadn't planned on it, but it sounds super enticing.
We'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah, I know this may overlap with you. Well, we'll talk, because I know he's heading to another continent in that month.
Nice.
I will be far away from there.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you're going to do it again next year, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, like, well, thank you for joining. Everyone's watching. Please, we've got the link to the event below in the description here. And it's definitely much more moderately priced than some other events. So, I think
we felt that was important. Yeah. We wanted to lower the barrier of gravel racing a little bit.
Considering all the things you're offering with all the aid stations and the support and safety and everything you had to go through, it sounds like a steal. I mean,
it wouldn't be possible without our partners. Like it works because Chico Velo has the insurance and the time to complete it. Northrim has amazing logistics for day of. Butte County Search and Rescue sponsors our Trailworks program, and this is an event that they do. It just kind of is a perfect storm. And it's funny, a lot of our wildflower event sponsors are like, this is a cool event, but we want to sponsor the Gravel Grind next year. So it's funny, like it's definitely really exciting.
Your support level is amazing, and congratulations on all that.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for joining. I look forward to seeing you both next month. And everyone else, please come check it out.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. We look forward to seeing you too.
Guys.
All right. Good night.
Don't know what he said?
Oh, yeah.